design of machine elements too. In our module 3, we are discussing about design of helical gears. Let us move on to our second problem on helical gear, which states that design a pair of helical gears to transmit a power of 20 kW from a shaft running at 1500 rpm to a parallel shaft to be run at 450 rpm. Suggest suitable surface hardness to the gear pair. If you observe the problem, he has not given the pitch circle diameter or center distance. Therefore, we should solve the module equation in the form of m cube Cv. Coming for the material details, he has not given the type of material for pinion, so therefore we should assume the material for pinion and find out what is the material for gear. And coming for number of teeth, he has not mentioned the number of teeth on pinion as well as on gear. But for m cube Cv types of problem, refer the table for minimum number of teeth to avoid interference and adopt the number of teeth. Whereas for m square y type of problems, we were assuming the number of teeth as 20 only to find the weaker member. Now, moving to data given in the problem, the data given in the problem are the power required to transmit is 20 kilowatts. Speed of the pinion is 1500 rpm and speed of the gear is 450 rpm. That's all. So now going for the prerequisite to solve the problem. The first prerequisite is in what form we should solve the module equation. Since pitch circle diameter or center distance is not given, solve the module equation in the form mn cube c, where mn is the normal module and cv is the velocity factor. Moving on to our second prerequisite, the number of teeth on pinion and gear. Since the number of teeth on pinion and gear is not given, and also we are solving mn cube Cv types of problems in which pitch circle diameter is also not known to us, we should adopt the number of teeth. So therefore, referring to table 12.4b, from table 12.4b, page number 230, assuming 20 degree full depth tooth form, the minimum number of teeth to avoid interference on pinion is 18 teeth. So therefore, adopt Z1 is equal to 18. So for this problem, we are adopting the number of teeth on pinion as 18, referring to the table 12.4b in page number 230, which will be the minimum number of teeth to avoid interference. You can assume 20 teeth also. Anything greater than 18 can be assumed. For a safer side, you can assume 20 teeth also. That is also correct. Let us solve for the minimum number of teeth and verify what is the VHF we are going to get for this problem. Third prerequisite. The third prerequisite is the material details and their respective allowable static strength. Since the material for pinion and gear is not given to us, from table 12.22, page number 241, assume 0.4 to 0.5% carbon steel not treated. Therefore, we are adopting sigma d1 as 70 megapascals. I already mentioned in the procedure to design the helical gear, if the material of the pinion is not given, we should always assume 0.4 to 0.5% carbon steel not treated. This is because of the reason, if we assume this material, we can demonstrate the design proper. Next, moving on to find the allowable static strength of gear, we want Lewis form factor. So therefore, let us move on to step 1 to find the Lewis form factor. Later we can calculate the material and allowable static strength of gear. So therefore, let us move on to step 1 and find the Lewis form factor for the helical gear. So step 1, as we know that the equation for Lewis form factor is not available for the helical gear. First, you convert the number of teeth on helical gear to the virtual number of formative teeth that are equivalent to the spur gear using the equation 12.22a referring to page number 211 of the design data handbook. I know the value of Z1 which is 18. First we will calculate the value of Z2. So the speed reduction ratio is given by N1 by N2. So therefore the value of I will be 1500 by 450. So therefore I is equal to 150 by 45. So also we know that I is equal to Z2 by Z1. So substituting and solving which I will get Z2 is equal to Z1 is 18 times 150 by 45. Simplifying which I will get 60 ticks on gear. Now to substitute to this equation, I don't know the value of helix angle. So therefore, assume the value of helix angle from table 12.20. The helix angle as beta is equal to 23 degree always. Always if the helix angle is not given, you assume the helix angle as 23 degrees. So therefore, using 23 degrees and substituting the values of Z1 and Z2, I will get Z equivalent 1 and Z equivalent 2 as Z equivalent 1 is equal to 18 divided by cos cube of 23 degrees, which yields us 23.078 teeth. Z equivalent to 2 is divided by cos cube 23 degrees, which gives us 76.849 teeth. So using this virtual number of teeth that are equivalent to this per gear, I can determine the Lewis form factor using the equation from equation 12.5d referring to page number 204. I have Lewis form factor by given by 0.154 minus 0.912 by Z equivalent, because we are using this per gear equation to design the helical gear. So therefore I should use the equivalent number of teeth, not actual number of teeth. So substituting and solving the value of Z1, I will get the value of Y1. Substituting Z equivalent to, I will get the value of Y2. So Lewis form factor for PN will be equal to 0.154 minus 0.912 by Z equivalent 1. Z equivalent 1 is 23.078. If I substitute, I get the value of Y1 as 0.11448. And the value of Y2, that is Lewis form factor for gear, is obtained by substituting Z equivalent 2. Z equivalent 2 is 76.849. If I substitute 76.849 in this equation and simplify, I will get the Lewis form factor for gear as 0.14213. So this is the Lewis form factor for pinion and Lewis form factor for gear. Now we can find what is the material for gear and we can adopt the strength of the gear. That is allowable static strength. So to determine the material of the gear, already I explained the procedure for designing the helical gear. That is the product of allowable static strength and Lewis form factor of pinion must be equal to the product of allowable static strength and Lewis form factor of gear. So using that condition, find the allowable static strength of gear. then using the same table 12.22 page number 241, compare the results, match the closest value which the sigma d2 that you are determined is matching, and adopt the corresponding material at its allowable static strength. So if I do that, I will get, continuing the step 1 itself, to find the material of the gear. We know that sigma d1 y1 must be equal to sigma d2 y2. Sigma d1 is known 70 MPa, y1 is just now we calculated 0.1148. This must be equal to sigma d2 into y2. y2 is 0.14213. So therefore the allowable static strength for gear is turning out to be 56.38 megapascals. So therefore, referring to table 12.22 page number 241, the closest value is sigma d2 is equal to 50 megapascals. So therefore, adopt cast steel class B medium gear material. So therefore, the value of sigma d2 henceforth will be 50 megapascals. This is obtained by comparing the value what we have obtained. So therefore, I calculate the value of sigma d2 also. So sigma d2 is equal to 50 megapascals. Moving on to our step 2, that is to find the weaker member. Formulate the table and find out which is the weaker member for this problem. If I do that, moving on to step 2, the particulars for this problem is pinion and gear. The allowable static strength of pinion is known to us, which is 70, whereas for gear it is 50. y1 is 0.1148, whereas y2 is 0.14213. Sigma d into y for pinion is turning out to be 8.0136, whereas for gear sigma d into y is turning out to be 7.1065. So therefore, gear is the weaker member. Since gear is the weaker member, designed for gear. Now we have found out that gear is the weaker member and we should design for gear. Moving on for step 3, to find the module. The equation for module is given by normal module is equal to 2 times the torque into Cw cos beta divided by sigma d2 Cv k capital Y and Z2, because we are designing it for gear, to the power of 1 by 3. This is from equation 12.24b, referring to page number 214. Now resolve this equation to the form mn cube Cv. So therefore, the equation which I should solve will be mn cube Cv will be equal to 2 times mt Cw cos beta divided by sigma d2 k capital Y is 5 times the small y 2 into Z2. So I know the values in the denominator. Find the value of torque so that I can find out what is the value of mn cube Cv required for this problem. So therefore, let us find the individual terms in this equation and calculate the value of mn cube Cv required. Now the value of mt is calculated by the equation. The torque is given by the equation 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into P by M into service factor. So since service factor is not given, take service factor as 1.5, referring to the table 12.8, page number 235, assuming medium shocks with 8 to 10 hours of service. So if I substitute and simplify and get the torque for this problem as 9.55 into 10 to the power of 6 into power is 20 kilowatts. Speed is speed of gear, because we are designing for gear, which is 450 into CS is 1.5. Therefore, the torque is turning out to be 6,36,666.67 Newton millimeters. Moving on to CW. CW is not given, therefore assume the value of CW as 1.25, referring to table 12.21, page number 241, assuming scan lubrication. Next, the value of beta is known to us, which is 23 degrees. Sigma d2 is known to us, which is 50 megapascals. The value of K, coming from the value of K is D by Mn, where phase width D is equal to 10 times Mn, always if not given. Since he has not given the values of phase width, assume the phase width as 10 times the module, that is normal module. I will get 10 into Mn divided by Mn. Cancel off normal module on both numerator and denominator. We will get the value of K as 10. Now Y2 is known to us, Z2 is also known to us. So I know all the values in the equation. So therefore substituting to this equation and solving, I will get the value of Mn cube Cv required. So therefore Mn cube Cv required will be 2 times the torque, which I calculated as 6,36,666.67 into CW is where lubrication factor, which is 1.25 into cos of 23 degrees divided by sigma d2 is 50, K is 10, 5 times Y2 is 0.14213 times Z2 is 60. So simplifying this equation, I will get Mn cube Cv required as 109.376. So this is the required value for Mn cube Cv. Now using trial and error method, you find out the module such that the cube of the module multiplied with the velocity factor exceeds this required value. So moving on to trial and error method to find the module. From trial and error, referring to table 12.2, page number 229, assuming the modules with reference 1, I can format the table as, so to find Cv I want velocity, to find velocity I want diameter. Therefore diameter is given from equation 12.19 E, page number 211. I can find the velocity. Once I find the velocity, I should want to find the velocity factor. We have 3 different equations for velocity factor in 12.25, but I am choosing 12.25b, in which we have Cv is equal to 6.1 by 6.1 plus b, because I calculated for module is equal to 4 and found that the velocity is coming more than 5. So therefore I have taken this equation and formatted the table. We just go for one trial and verify whether the velocity is exceeding 5 or velocity is coming within 5. Since the velocity is exceeding 5, take the value of Cv, which is holds good for velocities between 5 to 20 meters per second. Don't use Bragg's formula. For velocity between 5 to 20 meters per second, use this equation. And finally, we want the mn cube cv adapted. So if I do it for assumed value of module 4, I am getting the value of diameter on gear as 260.73 millimeters. The corresponding velocity is found to be 6.1433. Since velocity is more than 5, I have CV found to be 0.498. Corresponding value of mn cube CV is 31.872, which is less than the required value. So moving for 6, since the difference is very much higher, move directly for 6 and verify. The diameter is found to be 391.09. The velocity is found to be 9.2148. CV is found to be 0.3983 and mn cube CV is found to be 86.034, which is again less than the required value. In the module table under preference 1, module 7 is not available. So therefore go for module 8. If you go for module 8, the diameter again is turning out to be 521.45. Velocity is found to be 12.286. CV is found to be 0.3318 and mn cube CV is found to be 169.868. So therefore, adopt module is equal to 8 for this problem because the adapting value is greater than the required value. So from this trial and error table, it is clear that for module is equal to 8, I can exceed the required value of mn cube c. Since mn cube cv adapting value is greater than mn cube cv required value, adopt module is equal to 8 mm. So the normal module for the given power transmission is 8 millimeters. Moving on to our step 4, checking for stress. After finding the module as 8 millimeters, note down the respective values of diameter, velocity, velocity factor, and also compute diameter d1, which is required to find the wear load. Now moving on to our step 4, checking for stress. We know that the allowable stress is given by sigma d into cv. Sigma d2 is known to us, which is 50. cv is adopted, which is 0.3318. So solving which I will get sigma d cv allowable as 16.59 megapascals. Now to find the induced stress, we know that find the values of Ft first. Ft is equal to 2mt by d2. This is referring to the equation 12.8a, page number 206. So I get the value of tangential load Ft as 2 times 6,36,666.67 divided by d2 is 521.45 millimeters. So the value of tangential load is turning out to be 2442 newtons. Once I find the value of tangential load, use Lewis-Grimston equation, that is from equation 12.24a, referring to page number 214, you have Ft is equal to sigma d Cv b capital Y Mn by Cw. Now resolve this equation to the form of sigma d Cv induced. So if I do that, I'll get sigma d Cv induced is equal to Ft times Cw divided by B pi times small y Mn. I should use Y2 because we are designing for gear. So if I substitute the values and simplify, I will get Ft is 2442. Wear correction factor is 1.25. Phase width is 10 times C module, which is 80. 5 times Y2 is known to us 0.14213 and module is 8. So if I simplify, I will get the induced stress as 10.68 megapascals. So since sigma d Cv allowable stress is greater than sigma d Cv induced stress, the design module is correct and the design is safe from stress point of view. Now moving on to our step 5 to find factor of safety. Step 5 to find factor of safety. We know that the equation for factor of safety is given by equation 12.24a divided by equation 12.8a. So if I substitute the equation and simplify, I will get sigma d Cv d pi times small y2 Mn d2 divided by 2mt into Cw. So now substituting all the values which we know and simplifying, sigma d is sigma d2 because we are designing for gear. So sigma d2 is known to us 50 megapascals, Cv is known to us 0.3318, phase width is 80, y2 is also known to us, Mn is 8 millimeters, d2 is also calculated, and we know the value of torque 6,36,666 and Cw is 1.25. So if I substitute all the values and simplify, I will get the factor of safety for this problem as 1.553. So the factor of safety for the problem is 1.553. This completes first half of our design, in which we have recommended the module as 8 millimeters and factor of safety was found to be 1.553. Moving on to our part 2 of our design, wherein which we are recommending the BHN for this problem. Let us move on to our step 6 to find the dynamic load. After finding the factor of safety as 1.553 and tangential load as 2442 newtons, moving on to our step 6 to find the dynamic load. Referring to page number 214, equation 12.26a, we have the equation for dynamic load. On this equation, the only unknown yet to be calculated is the dynamic factor C. So to find the dynamic factor C, first we should find the error. To find error, we have two tables. One is table number 12.13, another one is table number 12.14. Table number 12.13 is used if the class of gear is mentioned, whether we are designing class 1 gear or class 2 gear or class 3 gear, whether we are designing accurate gear or precision gear, etc. If you clearly observe the question, the class of gear is not mentioned. Therefore, we cannot use table number 12.13. So move for table number 12.14 when class of gear is unknown. So using table number 12.14, I have the velocity as 12.286. For 12.286, the direct value is not available. So therefore, interpolate between 12 and 15. So using the formula of interpolation, taking this as A, B, C, this as 1, 2, 3. The general expression for interpolation will become a minus b divided by a minus c is equal to 1 minus 2 divided by 1 minus 3. So that is what I have substituted. Solving which I will get the error as 0.032. For this error, refer table 12.12 to get the value of dynamic factor. Since both gear as well as pinion are made up of steel, move for steel and steel combination with 20-degree full depth. For error is equal to 0.032, we don't have direct value of dynamic factor. So therefore, again interpolate between 0.03 and 0.04. So using the same general expression of interpolation, I will get the value of C as 366. Now, all the values in this equation is known to us. Substitute the values. Ft is just now we have calculated 2442. K3 is given in the below this equation, which is 20.67 in SI units. Velocity is known to us. C is calculated 366. B is phase width, which is 10 mm, which is 80. Beta is known to us 23 degree. So all these values are known. Substitute all these values and simplify. The answer for dynamic load is 17,646.77 newtons, which is 17.646 kilonewtons. So this is about our step 6, wherein which we have calculated the dynamic load. The very important point in calculating the dynamic load is to find the dynamic factor. So this is the procedure to calculate the dynamic factor. So using dynamic factor, we can compute the dynamic load. So moving on to our step 7, wear load. Using wear load equation, we can recommend the BH. Let us recommend the BH using wear load. Moving on to our step number 7, that is to wear load, to recommend the BHN. From equation 12.26c, referring to page number 214, we have the equation for wear load. So to find the BHN, we should equate wear load to dynamic load. If we equate and calculate the value of K, the value of K is found to be 0.7766. In this equation is K and Q. The value of Q is given by this equation 2z2 by z1 plus z2 or 2d2 by d1 plus d2, which is found to be 1.54. So using this value, and d1 is already calculated, b, the phase width is known, which is 80, and beta is known, which is 23 degrees. The only unknown remaining will be K. So once you find the value of K, refer table 2.16, page number 239. From steel and steel, that is pinion is also made up of steel and gear is also made up of steel, and we have assumed the tooth form as 20 degree full depth. The next higher value for K is 0.902. Now, why we are adopting 0.902 is the question. We are not going for the closest value of K. The closest value of K is 0.706 available in the data handbook. If I go for K is equal to 0.706, then FW will become less than FD. We already know the condition for safe design from strength point of view is that wear load must be greater than or equal to dynamic load. So therefore, the minimum value of K is 0.7766. You should not choose the value of K less than 0.7766. If you choose the value of K less than 0.7766, then wear load will become less than dynamic load, then the design will become unsafe for the given condition from strength point of view. So therefore, to make FW greater than FD for safe design, I should go for the next higher value, that is 0.902. So adopting K is equal to 0.902, the recommended value of BHN for pinion and gear, which are made up of steel and steel, is 300 and 300 respectively.